You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth are you doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Blossom, yes, blossom. That's the only sad thing. I want to know what happens next. Right then. Doctor whoever I'm about to be. Tag. You're it.
I know these teeth. What? What? What?
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks. We're back, and we are continuing with our holiday specials. And we are looking at this time at The Next Doctor, the final holiday special with David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. Well, technically, that's not really true because his regeneration was supposed to be
it depends on how you look at it, yeah.
So his last regular one until his regeneration episode. And this also featured a possible hint at who the next Doctor was going to be, because at this point they had already announced that Tennant was leaving. So it was like, wouldn't that be kind of cool if they had introduced the next Doctor before and teamed him up with the current Doctor? That would have been a great concept, actually.
Speak out.
Yeah, exactly. Psych! Pull, No, exactly. And well, Moffat kind of did that, but we'll talk about that a little bit. And we got a great crew, of course, as always. And of course, we have, Ms. Mary Ogle is here.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And you know what, folks? It's great to be here. It's the holiday season now. Everyone's feeling happy and festive. Well, most of us at least. And it's kind of interesting here that we're talking about this one because, are we going to see, David Tennant with the 60th anniversary specials? Are one of those going to be a holiday special? Or there is a rumor going around that the next year's holiday special will be the first one with the next Doctor in it. No pun intended for this episode.
My understanding is that David is in 3 that are going to air in November, and then the first one with Shooty is going to be on Christmas of next year. So
that's what I've heard.
I've heard the same thing. So,
which is, I think we all pretty much thought that Russell T was going to bring back the Christmas special as opposed to, New Year or any other day.
Mm-hmm. Now I think Doctor Who fits better with Christmas, and I'm not one who's a big Christmas fan, obviously, but I think Doctor Who and Christmas fit very well together.
Yeah, not for religious reasons.
No, not at all.
But I think it just fits better on Christmas Day than on New Year's Day.
I think the only challenge is, coming up with stories that kind of fitting Christmas into those stories. And sometimes it has felt a little forced. This one is, it's not like totally in your face.
No.
No, they don't go overboard trying to shove Christmas in this one.
Well,
they go overboard trying to shove the Cybermen in it.
Oh, big time. They force the Cybermen down your throat in this one. And it wasn't the best one, but we'll get to it in a minute. We'll definitely get there in a minute to talk all about it. But we also, want to hear from you guys. Please write us feedback at ourstationwho.com. Definitely let us know how you guys are doing. How's your holiday season so far? And, are you guys doing anything special? Did you save any turkey and ham for us? We would really appreciate that, of course. Please send it to us here at the station. All food donations are accepted. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, I really wish you would lay out money for replicators.
No. We
have the stuff in tubes. It's just getting boring.
Well, that's why we have listeners. They could send it to us if they want. It's always good. It's a very cool thing to do. So it should be a ton of fun, though, to be able to talk about this one and think about our holidays. Should be cool. We'll talk about it. But we have some little bit of Doctor Who news. As of this date, which is December 6th, Doctor Who has finally started filming with Ncuti as the next Doctor. And I don't mean the next Doctor like the episode we're going to be doing.
This is going to drive us nuts the whole time.
Oh, exactly. So I don't think this is going to be the holiday special that they're filming that we talked about real briefly earlier. That it sounds like this is going to probably be his first regular episode, because a lot of times they have him film out of order. So just so they get comfortable with the characters and everything. Like the first Matt Smith story that he did as the Doctor was the Weeping Angels story that they did.
Yeah, wasn't that number? What was it? 3?
That was number 3 or 4, exactly. And so a lot of times the regeneration story is a couple weeks or months later of their filming. So most likely we'll get his regeneration story soon, but we're also hoping that possibly we'll get to see his new costume as the Doctor.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, seeing what they do with that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because I'm getting tired of seeing him, people making him up in David's costume or or just, him in a jacket and, a button down or whatever. I hope they give him something unique. And as long as it's not Colin Baker's outfit, I'll be good.
No celery.
No celery.
No 30-mile long scarf.
No question mark sweater vest,
Oh, God.
Well, I do think it's interesting. I mean, with the logo being a little bit retro, I do wonder if his outfit's going to harken back to some other time as well.
That's possible.
That's a very good possibility, Mikey. That's very cool to see. I would be very curious to see what they come up with. So, of course, as soon as we find out, you guys will find out, usually through our Facebook group is where we post the pictures or stories and stuff like that. So definitely, if you haven't joined the Earth Station Who Facebook group, please do. We would definitely love you to be part of it. We got a great community up there growing, and a lot of people are, posting different stories, or, I know Matthew from Concaster Burris puts a lot of stuff for Big Finish up there. Mike Faulkner puts his Doctor Who's creative criticality watch-alongs up there. And, it's kind of cool, what you can do with that and everything. So definitely join in our Facebook group. And, other than that, there really hasn't been a ton of Doctor Who news.
Should point out that, sorry, Mike, but we should point out that in the image that the teaser image that they posted about the new season starting filming, on the slate, the director is named Dylan Holmes Williams. I don't know. I didn't recognize the name, and that's probably because he hasn't done a lot. I looked him up on the IMDb. He's directed a TV series called Servant over there. And that's about it. He's done a few other shorts and everything, music videos and whatnot. So he's a relatively new director. So it's kind of interesting to see where that, if that, I think we all thought that, Russell T was going to bring in a lot of familiar names, but he's looks like he's not afraid to try somebody new. The series that I'm looking at it now, the series Servant, is actually an M. Night Shyamalan series that's on Apple Plus.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
I have to look that up.
Yes. Very cool. We'll have to check that out. So, yeah, it's interesting when you get fresh directors, new eyes and everything, but we also ran into that when we got, Chibnall, and he brought in a lot of
less than stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful what you wish for, folks. As we like to say.
We just gotta keep an open mind.
Dude, I've tried to do an open mind
I
for
know
how
it was
many
harder
years.
Okay, I realized last series was very trying.
I think it's important as a Doctor Who audience member, though, as a Doctor Who fan, to always keep an open mind, though, because Doctor Who should be embracing new stuff.
Yeah, I don't want the same old all the time. They need to give chances to new people. That's how they learn. Some of those people might turn out to be wonderful additions. You don't know.
Exactly.
Sure, absolutely.
No, they could be fantastic. They could be the next, big Doctor Who person. And, we saw his very first episode or her first episode, and she knocked it out of the ballpark and everything. And, now we're looking forward to seeing like when Rachel directs Doctor Who or anything, it's like.
I think also, I have a certain amount of trust in Russell T. In that during his run and all his other projects that he's worked on, he really manages to get creative people and solid, consistently good people to work on his project. So I'm not worried about this at all.
Cool. No, I'm very much looking forward to it, and we're not going in with blinders, folks. We know Russell T had some pretty crap episodes too. So it's
sure.
None of them's perfect.
None of them. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. There's always going to be some clunkers.
Exactly. So, whenever somebody says clunker, I think of Christmas Story. It's the clunker. So.
But I do, with, the difference. So when Chibnall came in, it did seem like he was just going to wipe the slate clean and start and have everybody new, and for some reason that threw me off. I didn't really appreciate that. So I don't feel that way already with Russell, because he's brought a bunch of people in that were familiar with Who first, and now he's opening the door to new people too. So I think a balance is I like that fact that there's a balance there.
I think a mixture is actually smart, bring in people who know what they're doing, and that only supports the new people. I think, I think Chris Chibnall here we go, bashing again, made a big mistake when he decided he was going to bring in all new people in the beginning, because it's that's not really fair to everyone, because nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And plus, it's a small little island. Like, if you eliminate all the people that worked on Doctor Who in the past, then that's a very small pool that you have to choose from.
There aren't a lot left.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens, folks. And, as more news comes out, of course, we'll be your source for it, as we like to say. All right, let's move into this episode. We didn't even have enough news to even warrant a break.
What day is this?
Christmas Eve, sir. 1851, sir.
Nice year.
This creature came out of the shadows. A man made of metal.
What manner of men are they?
Cybermen.
Monstrous witch.
Merry Christmas to you too.
So let's go back to the wonderful year of 2008, 14 years ago, folks. And we are looking at David Morrissey as the Doctor. Oh, wait, no, not really, but
sort of.
Exactly.
Kinda.
And when I saw the trailer for it, or actually the preview for it at the end of the last episode of the regular season Doctor Who, I was just like, what? The next Doctor? This is awesome, And because the concept of time travel is, why hasn't the Doctor run into a future incarnation? Well, just because the Doctor at that point hadn't been cast and everything. But just the concept of it is a pretty cool idea. And I like how they played with it. And, how even David's Doctor, the 10th Doctor, wasn't even sure that, maybe this is a regeneration of myself who has a memory block out or something, that he didn't recognize it.
Oh, yeah. In the beginning, he definitely thought it was another version of himself.
Yes, absolutely.
All the way to the Alonzi, at the very end.
Which was kind of forced. But when the first time I haven't watched this since probably 2008, right? When it first aired. I've seen parts of it here and there, but it's not one that really compels me to watch it all the time. But watching it the whole time this time, I guess I appreciate it a little bit more because the first time I watched it, I was kind of not pleased about the fake out, right? Like, because it was just sort of the premise and everything touted as like, hey, this is the Doctor meeting a future incarnation. Maybe not so. I mean, obviously it's called the Next Doctor, but and I thought, like you guys, I thought that was such a cool concept that that had never been done before, and then to find out, oh no, it's not really that at all. But this time I didn't have that baggage because I already knew that it was a fake out. And I sort of watched this really appreciating David Morrissey's performance in this. I mean, he's really, really good. I don't know if I would have ever called him as an actor that I'd like to see play the Doctor. But, if he actually was an incarnation of the Doctor, I don't think I'd be upset.
I was actually agreed completely with that. Yeah. And I was actually kind of upset about it when he was the governor on Walking Dead.
It wasn't too far long after this where he was like, I mean, talk about two completely different roles.
Oh, exactly. And that's what upset me because I liked him as the Doctor. I thought he would make a great Doctor, and then he played such an evil bastard.
That's what makes him an actor.
Very good actor. He can convincingly play both.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good in this. He's very convincing.
Yes.
And I really appreciated the scenes where they're sort of, I mean, it's really forcing the 10th Doctor, David's Doctor, to hold a mirror to himself, which we've never really seen. I mean, yeah, we saw him with a previous incarnation of the Doctor in that fun little short with the 4th Doctor, but he's never really just kind of looked at himself and had himself, quote unquote, as a companion, a mirror of himself as a companion. And I thought that was overall well done. I think the first act and the second act of this are pretty interesting. The third act is where it all goes bonkers and
it falls apart big time.
Yeah, it really falls apart at the end.
It's just really crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But the first, all the scenes between David and David, not the musical group, which I like a lot, but the two actors, I think, are just really fascinating to watch.
No, very much.
The interaction between them is great.
Oh, the chemistry between the two of them was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it, was they worked really, really well. But I also liked the companion in this. Rosalita was awesome.
Yeah, Rosita was pretty cool. I don't think she's used much in the first act, but the introduction of her and everything is pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can definitely see her as a companion. It's easy to believe he's a reincarnation of the Doctor.
Absolutely.
I love the moment when the TARDIS is revealed as the hot air balloon.
Oh my
I
God.
think they set that up so well.
And it's awesome that he has the acronym for it too.
Yes.
Yep.
He's got it all worked out.
You know, it was like, what was it, like tethered, aerial, something. And it was just awesome. And there were so many little things, and it had you believing at one point that he was the Doctor, and it was working really, really well. You know, right from the beginning, what were those, cyber Muppets or whatever they were?
Yeah. They call them cyber shades, and they're never really fully explained, nor do they really are they really that great.
They were.
They look pretty cheap. They look like something
they
from
look like somebody in a Halloween costume they got from Walgreens.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And exactly. And they were like on all fours and everything. And then, then it was driving the carriage for Miss Cardigan. It's just like, really? Really?
Yeah.
They seem to be sentient.
Nobody will notice that.
Depending on the plot. And what were they? Like, I mean, the cyber technology takes over things. What was this originally? We don't know.
Was it a bear?
It just doesn't make any sense.
A big dog?
Orangutan? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, that made no sense whatsoever. That was like, we don't have enough Cybermen costumes, but look, we have some leftover half-price gorilla costumes. We'll cut those down, slap a mask on.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's about right. Yeah. But, the first time I saw it, I thought the steampunk Cyberman, monster, whatever it was, the Cyber King, was kind of cool looking, but now watching it looked cheesy as hell. This story, especially the third act, did not hold up at all.
No, the third act is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But actually, the whole villain arc is pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I think the actress Dervla Kiron, I think is her name, is really good, and she has a great presence. You could tell that she's up to the task, but yet the scenes with her are they just fall flat. And I don't think it's her fault. Really I just think she's asked to do the impossible here. She's asked to make her this Miss Hartigan character pretty interesting, and it's just we don't have enough.
No, she's got really wooden dialogue.
And then, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a pantomime type dialogue.
Or then the whole thing with her, you never have asked my first name. It's Mercy. It's like, God.
Brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, really, guys?
Yeah, that part was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 2/3 of a good episode. Because, the parts where the Davids are on screen are wonderful. I think I really enjoy them. But as soon as we start getting more into the Cybermen, it gets bad fast.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And them needing the children to do the labor was really weak. Really, really.
But that was very Victorian poorhouse Charles Dickens. Yeah. I think that's what they were going for.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen that several times in a lot of, especially British stories like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just a trope that's, like Mary said, it's just there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of an excuse.
I think also the third act really is weak because Jackson Lake, once he's discovered as not being the Doctor, is pretty much useless.
Yes.
Like he doesn't do anything. And that I thought was a disservice to him. And actually Rosita actually falls away as well. It's like that's the third act is like, I'm all David Tennant. I'm going to save everybody and I'm going to do everything. And then we met these interesting people and yet they don't do anything and add anything to the third act.
Yeah. They're basically just running away.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. But I did like Jackson and the Doctor at the very end when, the Doctor was showing him the TARDIS.
That was a nice moment. Yes.
That was a really, really nice moment. And,
again, all the scenes with the two of them are great.
Yes.
They act well on each other, and it's interesting to have, like I said, the 10th Doctor have this mirror, especially at this time in his run, because he's just said goodbye to Donna and almost everybody else, all his other companions and everything. And we know he's going on this, with hindsight, we know he's going on this sort of last series of adventures.
Yeah, but he didn't do the goodbye to all the companions and stuff until after he started regenerating.
No. Well, no, but I mean, he had there was a lot of other companions.
Oh, that's true. They did the
there's like 3 more specials.
in the Dalek special, in the two-parter. They had Rose come back. They had Torchwood. They had Captain Jack. They had
exactly. They had it was like the TARDIS was fuller than it's ever been with characters from Doctor Who, and then suddenly, when we start, we don't know what's exactly why he's come to Earth in 1851. But I did. I love the opening. It's enough Christmassy that I appreciate, because like we said, it's not in your face, but he's just arrived in Victorian England and London, and it's Christmas, and all the tropes are there, but it's snowing, and he's just marveling at it. It just looks beautiful. And I'm like, I would have the same face as he would. I'm like, this is just amazing. This is like everything you want, like London Christmas to look like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I thought it was fun. And, it was a fun episode if you don't take it seriously. And if you skip the third act, it's a great episode.
Yeah. I mean, it has a lot to recommend it, but it just falls apart at the end, which is too bad, because it does a disservice to the actors who including like you said, the one playing Miss Hartigan, who I do not think the part at the end is her fault at all. I think she's trying the best she can, but boy, her lines are terrible.
It's a disservice to the Cybermen too. I mean, we've seen some amazing adventures with the Cybermen, and I do think, this is, I don't know if this is the start of it, but there are a series of Cybermen adventures in New Who that are just like, you guys are using them too much.
Well, exactly.
I'm thinking of this one, and then the one that Neil Gaiman wrote, and then the ones with like him and the roommate and all that kind of stuff. It's like it seems like the Cybermen get to be overused. Not at this point, but are on the brink of it right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they just kind of become parodies of themselves.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't work anymore. And they become too much like robots. You forget that there are human brains inside them, which I think is one of the reasons why in the Peter Capaldi episode at the end where Bill gets converted, why it's so effective in that episode, because they're really bringing back the body horror of the Cybermen in a very effective way.
Yeah.
Not here though.
No, like in this one, they have the only way they remind you is because the lead Cyberman guy has a window in his head that shows the brain. It's like, oh yeah, he's got a brain in there. But that's
I mean, what is even the point of that?
Well, that's a throwback to the old series.
Yeah,
sure.
It was really not fun, and I expected the Cybermen, and these were still the Cybermen from the what was it, the time of not the angels, the ghost story and the Dalek one, and at the end the last one with Rose in it from the Rose season.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Because they mentioned that they were all like sent to the void, and I guess one escaped. I guess it's the one with the brain window, and then starts up again.
Of course.
But the whole thing about like, oh, we need a king and it needs to be Miss Hartigan and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this doesn't make anything. Nothing with the Cybermen made sense, which is like weird because I'm like, they're supposed to be like mechanical and logical. Like, why is none of what they are doing make any sense?
Well, and that's the thing also with it, because isn't lying an emotion? Basically, and they're supposed to be all logical, like you were saying, Mike. That they were lying to her to get her, to become the Cyber
They said
King.
like we lied or whatever, and it's like, it's just weird.
Yeah, it was just out of character, and it just didn't work.
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't work for her to have a stronger mind than all of them either. and to kind of take them over. I'm like, well, you haven't. I mean, it's not that you couldn't have used that as a storyline, but you have not established that with the character at all. I mean,
I find it
kind of selfish and greedy.
Well, true. And I find it interesting that I think that's one of the problems with the Cybermen used in New Who a lot is that, or maybe even classic Who, is that oftentimes it's not just the Cybermen that we're dealing with. It's people using the Cybermen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or thinking that they're using the Cybermen.
Or trying to use the Cybermen or whatever. And instead of just the Cybermen themselves. And maybe the Cybermen themselves are just kind of boring, but I don't know. I think that this is just another example of dilution. I think of them. It would have been much more interesting if they had a different alien race or something here.
Mm-hmm. It would have made more sense, but they wanted an easy out, and they used the Cybermen. That's pretty much, what it was.
Yeah, that's what it definitely was here.
So, overall, fun story. Can't take it too seriously, but it's just a lot of.
I don't know. You say that, but I take the scenes between David and David like really seriously. The 10th Doctor and Jackson, because I just think we've never really seen that before with the Doctor kind of. I mean, we've seen incarnations kind of play around with each other, but in this one, it seems like the 10th Doctor really learns a lot about himself because he's never really seen himself like from this side of it before. And he's never really had anybody that knows him. Like that's just like he can't get away with crap because Jackson knows everything that he knows. He knows all this stuff. And I think that it's really interesting, the dynamic between them. I find that, man, if this episode had just been that, dynamic, it would have been really interesting, but it's not really like, action and fun for the kids and action figure like or whatever. But I love that part of this episode, this story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why it works so well is that it really advances David Tennant's character, the interaction he has with Jackson Lake. And so that I totally applaud. That was a brilliant writer's move. But, it's like Russell ran out of time and he's like, uh-oh, I got to fill 50 more minutes. What am I going to do? Cybermen.
I mean, I thought little scenes like it was telling when, the 10th Doctor goes off to fight the Cybermen after Jackson Lake is discovered, like after he finds out who he is. And the 10th Doctor's like, well, I got stuff to do. So boop, he darts off and Jackson tells Rosita, like, go to him, go be with him because he needs somebody. Like he knows that the Doctor needs a companion, which is something that I think we said it before. This is really like Russell T's big thing that he's bringing to the character is that the Doctor needs a companion. Otherwise he goes all mad with power and everything. And we kind of see that too, where he offers Miss Hartigan a deal. And she obviously is not going to take it and up on it. And he's like, all right, well, then the hell with you guys.
I tried.
I'm gonna blow y'all up to bits.
Yeah. Well, and I loved it though when he fired the memory cores at her, and she says, that was your best shot. You didn't do anything. He says, oh, I didn't. And it's like, I just freed you from their cyber control. And it's like, that was a great scene. That was pretty awesome.
It was in some ways, but in other ways, I'm like, I don't understand this at all.
No, I mean, I agree that was a good way to get out of it. The mess that they had created at that point in the plot. That was a good way to get out of it. But yeah.
And so, and then, then her starting to screaming and the feedback then destroyed all the Cybermen and herself. They just like shredded and disintegrated. It was like, oh, really?
Yeah,
that was
all that feedback.
So, it was interesting. And then we had, then him sending the Cyberman back into the void or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was just
that was dumb.
Yeah, that was really dumb.
I was like, okay.
I mean, but the whole third act is dumb. So
true.
There you go. So we can keep on going back and forth and saying it's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. All right. This is going to be
smart. It's dumb. It's smart. It's dumb. It's smart. It's dumb.
It's smart, dumb.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, all right. Let's go ahead and rate this one because I don't think there's any final thoughts on this. All right. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Mr. Mike, I'm going to let you go first.
This is a tough one because there's a lot that's really cool in this. I mean, I definitely would recommend people see it because it's really cool to see David and David work together. And the Cybermen stuff is awful, but it's, is it that awful? I don't know. I'd have to give it maybe a 3.5. It's just beyond, like, it's just a couple steps above, like, just average. Because the Cybermen stuff takes it down. It had the possibility of getting higher grade, but yeah, that stuff just takes it down.
Okay. That's totally fair. Mary.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I think I would give the first 2 acts a 5 because I just love the interaction between those two. But
Absolutely.
The final act is like a 2, if even that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, right. I mean, I think overall for me, it's about a 3. I mean, I wouldn't say no, don't watch it. I would just say watch it, but don't expect much from the ending.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't introduce a non-Who
no.
to the franchise this way.
Yeah, I will say I liked it better on the rewatch than I did the first time.
Oh, really?
I did too.
Around.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think it's because like I said, in my case, the fake out isn't like on my mind as much because I already know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and like we keep on saying, for me, I'm going to do a 3.5. Averaging it in, like we said, the first 2 acts, great, and the chemistry, great. I even love the scene when, the Cyber Shade got lassoed and they were holding on to the rope. And
I mean,
that's silly, but they play it well, so it's fun to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, the best part about that is after she cuts the rope and Jackson and the 10th Doctor are just like laughing. They're like, "This is awesome! Like what we do." I mean, granted, we're in dangerous situations, but we're having a lot of fun doing it.
Exactly, and they were having fun, and that came across really, really well. And, Rosita was just like, "What the hell are you two doing?" And that was fun. And the rest of it, the third act, drink a lot, folks. Definitely. Eggnog. That's the best way to enjoy a holiday special. I think that's the best way. So that is our review for this week. Guess we're going to skip the regeneration episode, because we've already reviewed that way back when. So
plus, it's not really holiday related.
No, not really. No, not really.
And we don't want to watch it again.
No.
That's right. That's the real reason.
Yeah, we don't want to see Rassilon spittle, spitting all everywhere, and Gallifrey has returned. No, we don't want to. We're not going to watch that. So I guess Christmas Carol is next for us. We're going to
we're going with Matt Smith.
That's right. And that's going to be a ton of fun to watch. And it'll be very interesting to see where we get with that one and our reactions with it. And you never know. We might say, "Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting to see," but the third act, no, just kidding. But yeah, it's very, very fun doing this with you guys, and we're going to be back again before Christmas, so we're not going to wish you guys quite yet a happy holiday, but you know what, hope you're having a fantastic holiday season. That's the way we should do it. So definitely, if you get a chance, leave feedback for us anywhere you listen, please do. And for all our patrons who are listening to this early, thank you. And for everyone who is listening to it regularly for free on, your favorite media player, shame on you. I mean, yes, thank you for listening. So we definitely really appreciate you guys. We do. So definitely on behalf of myself, Mr. Mike Faber, and Mr. Michael Gordon, and Ms. Mary Ogle. You want to promote your stuff, Mary?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
And folks, we will see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Peace, and we are done. Boom.
Woohoo!
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
It's time for a promo for the Epsilon 3 podcast.
The Epsilon 3? What do we talk about?
It's a Babylon 5 rewatch podcast.
Babylon 5? What's that?
It's the greatest 1990s sci-fi show in history.
How are we going to watch it?
With glee and excitement.
How would we rate those kind of episodes?
Out of jump gates.
How many jump gates?
Out of 5 jump gates.
Because it's Babylon 5.
That is correct. If you go to Zahadum, you will die. But you know what you won't do? You won't die listening to the Epsilon 3 podcast, right here on the ESO Network.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.